Hi guys, I'm web strategist Wes McDowell, and welcome back to lesson 2 in the course, where I'll be walking you step by step in how to create the content for the pages that will be most important for your SEO and for your customer conversions. And when I say that, the emphasis here is going to be on your homepage and your service or product pages, because these are where your prospects will go when they're actively looking for what you're selling. So the content we'll be covering here isn't meant to educate your prospects on the finer points of your industry. They've already searched for a business like yours, so we can safely assume that they're close to making a buying decision at this point. The only thing left to do is sell them on your business specifically. And I do want to kick things off here by dropping a few golden rules of persuasion that have been proven time and time again to help connect more effectively with prospects. Remember these principles and let them guide the tone of your content. First, write casually and conversationally. Now more than ever, people are looking for human connections, even with the businesses they want to work with. And stuffy corporate speak doesn't help to humanize your brand. And yes, even if you're in a more buttoned up profession, writing as if you're speaking to a friend will always connect more meaningfully and with more personality. Being professional isn't nearly as important as you think it is. And believe it or not, being able to speak about your industry in an easy to understand way actually makes you seem like more of an authority, not less. Golden rule 2, keep the emphasis on your customer, not on your business. One of the worst mistakes businesses make over and over again with their websites is treating it like a big brag board, touting all their accomplishments, their mission, and their biographies, as if their customers actually care about any of it. They don't. They're coming to your site because they have some type of problem that they need solved, so make your website about that, along with your solution, what they get, and how their life will be better as a result. All right, next, people don't buy products and services, they buy results. It's important to keep the focus on the end benefits that you bring to your customers. For instance, if you're a hardwood flooring installer, your customers aren't buying wood or even installation. Believe me, nobody wakes up saying, I want my house ripped apart and my life turned upside down today. No, of course they want the result that comes at the end. So don't show photos of a half-finished construction zone. Show the end result, the happy family loving the look of their new flooring. Okay, next, buying decisions are made on emotion first, logic second. For that reason, you never want to miss an opportunity to talk about how your customer will feel after they use your product or your service. To go back to the hardwood installer example, if your website were to only talk about the density of the wood and the 3-coat stain process you use, you're really missing out on an opportunity to tap into something much more primal. So talk about how they'll find themselves admiring their new home and the compliments they're going to get from all their friends. That's what gets people excited to buy. And when you create your pages with these principles in mind, you'll be much better at communicating on a human level, which results in more connection and higher engagement. And guess what? All that extra engagement means more time spent on your website, more pages being looked at, and more scrolling. And all those things are really strong signals to Google that people like your pages and that they should show your website to even more people when they search. It's almost as if writing for humans is what Google wants you to do. In the rest of this lesson, we're going to walk section by section through any well thought out sales page. Now, for simplicity's sake, this example is going to be a home page, but this is the optimal flow I recommend for service or product pages as well. Because it's important to remember, not everybody will enter your website through your homepage, especially if you've handled your SEO correctly. So one of your service pages or a page that's specific to one of your products might very well be the first impression that any future customer has with your brand. For that reason, you don't want to treat those pages as an afterthought. Believe me, every service you offer and every product you sell needs a page to lead them down this path if you want them to sell, right? You can choose to simplify this format for those types of pages if you want, but the more of these sections you can at least touch on, the better off you'll do. Okay, so let's get right into the persuasive page format that I've personally used on hundreds of my client websites over the years. And I can tell you it works way better than any other layout that I've ever tried. So we're gonna start off right at the top of the page, what we call the hero section. And since this is the very first thing any new visitor is gonna see, it has a pretty big job to do. It needs to communicate exactly what your business does, how that will make your customers' lives better, and what they need to do to get it. And as if that weren't enough, this all needs to be made painfully obvious within 10 seconds max. In a study from the Nielsen-Norman Group, which is a user experience research firm, they're pretty smart, they concluded that users often leave web pages in 10 to 20 seconds, but pages with a clear value proposition can hold people's attention for much longer. To gain several minutes of user attention, you must clearly communicate your value proposition within 10 seconds. In other words, if you want more than 10 seconds, you gotta give them a reason to stay. And that reason is all to do with how you will help them solve their problem. So the trick here is simple. Just use the main headline here to state clearly and plainly what you do or provide. In our example here, that would be something like accounting services for small business. It's not clever or cute, but it is clear. And here's the thing, clarity beats cute and clever all day long. Then use the supporting subheadline to bring up the main problem you solve or the main benefit you deliver, something like what we have here. Our team of financial experts can bring peace of mind to your finances, so you're freed up to spend your time where it counts most, on growing your business. And this is really important to include because at the end of the day, that's what their client wants. Nobody wants accounting services for the sake of collecting accounting services, right? They want the service because it frees up their time and because they want that peace of mind that comes with handing off an intimidating task to a true expert. And since we need the viewer to get all this information in a really tight time span, remember 10 seconds, this background image needs to help sell the idea visually. What many businesses would do here is they would show a photo of their team or a stock photo representing an accountant with a calculator or sometimes even just a skyline or something like that. But none of those things work particularly well because showing you and your team in the photo puts the emphasis on you as a business when we already know it should be on your customer. And skylines, landscapes, and corporate handshakes don't say anything meaningful at all. So what you should put here instead is a happy customer photo that showcases the emotion that your customer feels as a result of working with you. So here we have an image of happy small business owners who are now able to do what the subheadline promises, grow their business. Then finally, you're going to finish this section off with the third crucial piece, which is how do I get it? This is where you want to include your call to action button that clearly states what happens next in the process. And it shouldn't say contact us or get started. It should be much more descriptive than that. Something like buy it now, download the app, or schedule your free consultation. So once you're confident that the hero section is super clear enough to pass that 10-second test, we're free to move on to the next section, what we call the problem solution. Now I know we always want to keep things on our website bright and cheerful and upbeat, but here's the truth. If you don't bring up the problem your customer is already experiencing, they won't know why they need you in the first place. And doing this shouldn't be considered going negative either. They already know they have a problem. So when you bring it up, you're actually relating to them in a really meaningful way. And since you brought up their problem, they're going to assume you already know how to solve it. It's actually really easy to do this. Just bring up the big problem in the headline like I've done here. In this case, the problem is that accounting is not the fun part of running a business, but yeah, you actually need it to succeed. Then just take 2 or 3 short paragraphs to expand on the problem. You might want to give 2 or 3 examples or symptoms of that problem. Then you want to add another couple of short paragraphs where you switch gears and you talk about how you solve that for your customers. And remember, images are important to help sell your ideas, and this one is your choice. You can either show another happy customer photo here if you want to emphasize the positive, or you can really double down on the pain your customer is experiencing in the moment by using a photo more like this one. Just be really careful to choose photos that aren't cheesy. You really want to go as natural as possible for this, and for all your photos for that matter. Okay, moving right along, next we have a really simple, useful section, which is just a showcase of your products or services. Now, of course, you really only need this if you happen to sell multiple products or multiple services. If you just sell one thing, you can skip this. But if you have more than one, it definitely makes a lot of sense to try to funnel people as quickly and efficiently as possible to the offer that matters to them most, so they can get a version of this page that is much more tailored to what they need. So let's take a look at how I've organized this, and it's probably how you want to do it too. Notice how on this homepage I'm walking you through, it's all about accounting services in general. But then these individual services link to pages that are much more specific. So if you have a big general umbrella that all your services fit under, that should be the focus of your homepage. Then you'd list out your more specific products or services here, and you'd be ranking those keywords on those pages here. So the thing to remember for this section is to give each a simple name, a short one-sentence description, and a button or a text link that people can click to take them to that page. Okay, moving along, next we come to possibly the most important section when it comes to pure persuasion power, and that's the benefits spotlight. Now, this is actually my secret weapon section because by talking about the actual benefits you deliver to your customers, you increase the perceived value of your offers. And when what you sell becomes more valuable in the minds of your customers, guess what? It becomes much more of a no-brainer to want to work with you or buy from you. And not only that, but you can actually charge higher prices as a result. So I do need to make sure we're on the same page here when I talk about benefits. This is probably the most commonly mishandled and misunderstood element I see over and over again, because most people just don't understand the fundamental difference between a benefit and a feature. And this is really important because benefits sell way better than features do. And probably the easiest way to remember the difference is features are things, benefits are actions, outcomes, or transformations. Take a look at the benefits I have here if you want some examples. So for the first one, I could have simply said simple monthly reports, but that's really just a feature. So the benefit of the feature is that you can make more informed decisions based on those reports. So the easiest way to do this is to just start a list of all the things that you include on your offerings. Then dig deeper into each one. Try to fill in the blanks to this sentence. We offer feature so you can blank. And that blank is your benefit. We offer 24-hour support so you never have to feel stuck again. We offer a 37-point inspection so everything gets fixed right the first time. You get the idea. Then just pick your most compelling 3 benefits that you think would interest your customers the most. Then write them here with a short 1-sentence description and an icon or an image to help depict it visually. Okay, and next we have another really important and often mishandled section, and that's the testimonial spotlight. I think we can all agree that reviews and testimonials are a non-negotiable these days. I can't even remember the last time I bought anything or hired anyone to do anything for me without seeing some really positive 5-star reviews first, and I'm betting it's the same for you too. But not all testimonials are created equal. What you don't want is just some random vague reviews that don't say much more than friendly service, highly recommend. You want to be really picky about the handful of testimonials that you choose to feature here. First of all, if these are on a specific product or service page, the testimonials here should be specific to that specific offer, but for the homepage, they can be more general. So for each important page, you want to choose 3 to 5 that address an objection or that talk about a specific problem that you solved or an outcome or a result that you help them achieve. Then you want to make sure that you use their name and a photo if you possibly can. That's going to help sell this much better because people will always put more weight on a testimonial if it looks like a person is willing to stand behind it publicly, and a photo helps give that impression. And I always like to add a 5-star graphic to each one just to help it read as a testimonial at a glance. And that way, even if no one reads the testimonial itself, they'll still see the stars, and for some people, that's enough. And if you have a bunch of testimonials, again, just pick the best ones to feature on your important sales-focused pages, and then go ahead and add the rest to a dedicated testimonials page. Okay, now remember how I told you earlier that buying decisions are based on emotion first and logic second? If you notice, nearly everything up till now has been hitting on that emotional part of your customer's brain. So they've bought in emotionally, but now for some people, they'll need to justify that decision they've already made with something more concrete. And that's where the features section comes into play. You're simply going to list out all the features, and remember, features are simply the things that people will get included with your offer. And the good news is, you should have already listed these out back when you created your benefits spotlight section. So I like to include about 10 to 12 features, things like 24/7 phone support or free shipping. You get the idea. And if it's a product, this is probably where you'd want to list out any relevant specs like dimensions, what's in the box, that kind of stuff. And you could stop there, but since this course is all about maxing out the persuasion on your website, I recommend going one step further and adding a really short description for each feature that gives a bit more context and emphasizes the benefit behind the feature. Okay, we're getting close to the end of the page now. Thanks for sticking with me through this. Now, the next section is all about those FAQs. Now, this section is really helpful for helping people self-select whether or not they're a good fit for what you're offering. And it's also a powerful section when it comes to busting those common objections. And spoiler alert, it's also going to be a great section when it comes to sneaking in some of those keyword phrases, but I'm getting ahead of myself. More on that in lesson 4. All you need to do here is list out the most common questions you get all the time and the top objections or hesitations people typically have before buying. Once you have that list, just pick the 5 or 6 that feel the most relevant for the particular page you're on, and then write them out in a question-answer format like you see here. And for those objections, just restate the objection as a question, then your rebuttal or your argument against that objection becomes the answer. And if you have more FAQs beyond 6, just put your best 6 here, and then go ahead and list the rest on a separate dedicated page. Okay, time for our last section, and this is where the rubber meets the road. It's a really simple but direct call to action block. Up to this point, we've meticulously made the case for your business, product, or service. So now, let's hit them up with one last opportunity for them to schedule something with you or buy from you. All we really need here is a simple and direct headline like this, and a repeat of the call to action button you already created way back up in the hero section. Just copy it, make sure it says exactly the same thing and looks exactly the same in terms of color and shape. Consistency is key when it comes to your calls to action. So that's the overall layout and the flow that I have found works best, and you'll want to repeat it for all your important service or product pages. And I know what you're probably thinking, I need to do all of that for every single product I sell? And of course, if you're a marketplace that sells thousands of products, you may not need anything this elaborate for all of them, and you may choose to simplify this structure for those pages. But like I said earlier, the more of these sections, the more of these beats you can at least touch on, the better when it comes to boosting your conversion power. So we've already applied what we can in terms of connecting with and persuading our prospects, but now it's time to add in what we're missing, on-page SEO. So join me in the next lesson where we'll pick up with the next step, which is to uncover your most profitable keyword phrases. I'll see you there.